Hey guys, Bobby Hughes here with Point Firearms, and me and the missus just got back from Sam's Club, and while we were there we picked up a couple of prep items, and a couple of things that we got was we bought a 25-pound bag of rice and a 25-pound bag of all-purpose flour. Now both of these items have a really long shelf life if they're stored properly, and you take care of them and keep them in a nice dry climate, you know, in a dark place, and they'll last for a while. Now I want to get you guys the prices on these, but hang on a second, let me grab the receipt so I can remember. Alright, so for the 25-pound bag of this Riceland enriched extra long grain white rice, we got the 25-pound bag for $8.79. So I think that's a pretty good deal. And then for the flour, we got a 25-pound bag of all-purpose flour. It's ConAgra Mills, so it's a known brand, and we got that for $6.63 for the 25-pound bag. So less than 15 bucks right here. We got 50 pounds worth of dry goods right here, and I'm going to show you guys how to properly store it. Now what I've got here is I've managed to get my hands on a couple of, I believe these are 3-gallon, 3 or 4 gallon probably, jugs or buckets, and these are actually food grade buckets. These had, this one had icing in it, like cake icing or cake frosting. I've got a friend that I shoot with that his wife works at the bakery at one of the local grocery stores, and so they get their bulk stuff in these buckets, and so whenever I need them I just ask him. He brings them to me. They're really nice because one, I know they're food grade, and two, they have a nice rubber gasket in the lid, so that's going to lock out any air. Now even though I know these are food grade buckets, my wife brought up a really valid point. And you know, when he brought them to me, he had them stacked inside of each other like that. And you know, that even though the inside is, I know, is a, you know, nice sterilizable, if that's a word, you know, material, the outside sits on the ground, is on the floor, and probably kicked around with shoes and nasty grease and everything else. So what I did was I cleaned them real good in some scalding hot water with some dish soap, and then I bleached them, and then I've sat here and let them dry. You're going to want to make sure that they're good and dry before you seal your stuff up in here, so we don't have any moisture inside our barrels, because if we have moisture, then it's going to create mold, especially in porous items like flour. Flour is extremely important that you keep it good and dry, because if you don't, you're going to end up with mold, guaranteed. So you want to make sure that it's a good dry environment, and we're going to seal it up real good, put some oxygen absorbers in there, and go ahead and get that stored up. Now what I've done is I cleaned the buckets, and then I took some standard trash bags. You could put it directly into the bucket if you wanted to. I just wanted something to kind of line the bucket, especially for the flour. That way when I open the bucket, flour doesn't poof everywhere. So, or when I'm closing it, I don't blow powder out. Just make things a little bit cleaner. So I've taken a trash bag, of course non-scented. You don't want to use any type of scented trash bag. I've taken a trash bag, placed it in here, and that should work fairly well, kind of as just a liner inside of the bucket. Now because we're storing such a bulk item, this big of a bucket, you would need several of those little small oxygen absorbers. While those are fairly cheap, like I said, it would take several of them. So what I've decided to use instead is I'm going to be using some hot hands, some hand warmers. Now these are a great thing to use for oxygen absorbers in bigger items, because they're made up of the same things. Oxygen absorbers and the hot hands have the same ingredients in it. It all does the same thing. What this does is it sucks the oxygen from around it and makes it warm. Alright, so what we'll do is we will put our stuff in, knot the bag up, stick it down in there, push as much air out as we can, and then we'll throw one of these hot hands inside the bucket and then seal it up, and it'll suck the oxygen out of the bucket, or what's left of it. It'll absorb it into our hot hand. So that's what we're going to use for oxygen absorbers. So let's get started. We're going to do the rice first. I would say that's a perfect fit for this size bucket and 25 pounds of rice. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my bag and I'm going to push as much of the air out of it as I can. I'm just going to knot it up. Just like that. Now, should be able to take one of our hot hands here, shake it up and activate it, and lay it right on top there, and seal our bucket. Just like that, we have a nice sealed bucket of 25 pounds of rice, sealed up and ready to go into food storage. So I'm going to go ahead and label this one up and prep our next bucket for the flour, and we'll get the flour dumped in. Alright, now the flour may be a little more tricky. And I'm curious to see if we'll actually fit this whole bag of flour in this bucket. Alright, so I've got about as much flour in this bucket as I can get in here, and in this case what it ended up was I just weighed what was left in the bag, and there's right at about 5 pounds left in the bag. So we managed to get 20 pounds of flour in this bucket with the liner. Now without the liner I may have been able to get the last little bit in there, but I would rather have, and I still may be able to get the rest in there, but I'd rather have a little bit of clearance in the top of my bucket. So once again, I'm just going to push out what air I can out of the bag. on it. And we'll add our other oxygen absorber in it. And install our lid. Alright guys, so just like that, we've got 45 pounds of dry goods stocked, prepped, and ready to go into our food storage. Now, like I said before, these things will keep for a good bit of time. The flour won't keep as long as the rice will, but it will keep for several years. But the trick with any type of food storage, and we've talked about this before, is rotating your stock and using it. Now, the other 5 pounds that I didn't manage to get in here, it's not going to go to waste. I'm actually going to be baking some homemade bread, and I'm also going to be testing out the theory of a solar oven and seeing how that would work as far as baking would go. Just got to wait on a good day to do that. And I'll bring you guys the videos when that comes. But in the meantime, you know, between now and then, what I may do is, if I want, you know, I keep flour in the cabinets, but to keep from having to buy flour, now I've got 20 pounds of it. Now I compared the price of $6.83, I think I said, for this 25 pound bag of flour, and I stored 20 of it. And $6.83 is a very reasonable price, considering when you go to the store and buy 5 pounds of all-purpose flour, it costs you anywhere in the neighborhood of $3. All right, so you know, we've pretty much 500 times the value right here. And what I can do is, just because this is going to be in my food storage, doesn't mean that I can't use it. And so, in the meantime, what I'll do is, when I need flour, I'll dip out of this, and when I get to about a half a bucket, then next time I'm at Sam's Club, I'll pick up another 25 pound bag, and I'll bring in a new bucket, clean it up, seal it just the same way we did this one, date it, and then that way I am not only using out of my supply in order to rotate, but I'm also saving a lot of money by buying it in bulk. And that's where you're going to save a lot of your money at, and that's another reason why we prep, is to save money. Not just for a worst case scenario, but to help make life a little bit easier. Alright, so till next time guys, I hope you enjoy the video, and all the videos I post. But like I said, until next time, get out there, shoot some guns, be safe, and most importantly, have fun. See you guys later.